that's the mindset shift. That's like where we have to do that internal work. So I always like to start with like creating your foundation. What matters to you? To me, it matters that I get the laundry done in the least amount of loads as possible, because I don't want to do laundry. I want to go to the park and hang out with my kids. I want to go to the baseball games and enjoy it. I want to spend my weekends with them, not catching up on the laundry. So there's like a means to an end for that. So it doesn't have to be perfect, because that's not the point. The point is that I just need it done.
Hello, welcome to Monetizing Mompreneurs podcast, where I take you behind the scenes with industry leaders, entrepreneurs, moms, working professionals, and amazing people pursuing their passions and going for their dreams. And I'm your host, Linda Mendable. You are in for a treat. Ashley helps busy moms eliminate the excess and create a home they love that's intentional, functional, and serves your lifestyle. Managing your home doesn't have to be so hard. Her realistic approach will have you taking back control so you can live a life you love with ease and elegance. I love this episode, and I know that you will as well. Ashley is a home design enthusiast. She's a wife and mom of 3 littles. She helps busy moms easily manage the excess and create a home they love that's intentional, functional, and serves your lifestyle. Ashley's motto is that managing your home doesn't have to be so hard. Her realistic approach will have you taking back control so you can live a life you love with ease and excellence. With ease and elegance. Thank you, Ashley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So how's your day been?
It's been great. Nice, slow morning. Excited to be here with you and everybody listening.
Yes, I'm really excited that you're here, because I know that our audience is definitely going to be blessed with a bunch of your know-hows, your how-tos, because I think managing the home can be really hectic as a mompreneur, as an entrepreneur, and as we're scaling and growing our businesses. So take us through what you guide women through. Like, what do you help women?
I help women easily manage their home without the constant to-do list always nagging at them, because we already have more than enough things to do. And we don't need that long to-do list of switch the laundry, do the dishes, meal prep for the week. We need to have a way that stuff's just kind of built into our lifestyle and that really fits with our already existing habits and how we do life. So that way it just makes it so much easier, and it kind of becomes a rhythm versus a to-do list. So that's exactly,
yeah. Yeah, rhythm. So take us through kind of like how you started, because you didn't start here, right?
I did not start here. So my first business was a photography business, and I still have that business as well. And basically I would have clients come in through my home and be like, oh my gosh, how is your home so clean? And really it was just clean because I had an in-home studio. So I needed to have it clean to present them in my house. And they would be like, how is it so clean? Do you have kids? Do they live here? And I'm like, yes, all these things. But it was a way to make it easy for me to run my business from home. So I had kind of created these home management systems that made it easy so I could welcome people in and do their photo sessions and then sell high value artwork and things like that. And people kept asking me like, well, how do you do this? How do you make sure that everything's done and it doesn't like consume your life? And that's how this was born. I'm like, there's definitely a way to do this. There's a method to my madness. And so that's what I do. And what I teach on now is how to easily manage your home without all of those tasks. So that way everything is just so much easier and it's beautiful. And then you can do all the other things that matter, like run your business and go to kids practices and do all of that stuff.
But how did you know that that was something that you were like meant to do, or like that you would love to do, right? Because I don't love managing the home that much.
I don't either, but because I've gotten very efficient at it, my brain is really wired for business. And so I always like to, business is one of my favorite things. I used to be a business banker before I was a photographer. And so I just really love business and systems and structure. And I was like, there has to be a way to manage my home, like how I would manage a business or how I manage my day when I go to work. And so I started adding in a lot of those tasks and strategies that I use in the workplace into my home. And that helps so much because then it, first of all, it takes you away of like, takes away that whole mindset of, oh, I'm just an awful homemaker. Oh, I'm not good at this, or oh, I'm not good at that. Because you can't say that at work or in your job. You would have to find a strategy to help you do that because it's part of your job. So that's kind of how I feel about my home is like, this is the life that I want. And so I just incorporated those CEO strategies from work and from building businesses into my home to make it so much easier because nobody wants to manage their home. I don't want to sit there and do laundry or dishes. I mean, the least amount of effort is the best.
I agree. I mean, one of the things that I have trouble with is laundry. So I know that I need a routine for laundry. But when you do sit down with your clients, what is the first thing that you take them through, or what is it that they're really struggling with?
I think just that overall feeling of overwhelm because it's not just the laundry, it's not just the dishes, it's not just like, oh, I can't figure out what to do for dinner. It's everything. So I always think about it as, and I teach that there's 7 essential home management systems. And so I walk them through how to create a system for each of those essential home management systems based on my 4-step method, which is we first create the foundation. So in order for anything to even matter, you have to first sit down and decide like, what is actually important to you. So when I'm looking at my laundry and how I do laundry, I think about like, what's most important to me? And to me, it's getting the laundry done. I don't want to sit there and sort laundry. I don't want to have to do a separate whites load. I don't want to do a delicates load. I just don't care. I want it done. So that's what's most important to me. And my laundry rhythm reflects that. And that might not work for someone else who's like, oh, well, I have all these delicates that need to be washed on cold. And I have whites and all my kids have white socks and we have white t-shirts and I need to bleach it. I'm like, nope, not here. One load, throw it in, we're done. But that's okay because when you sit down and actually create your foundation based on what matters most to you, then you can create a home management system for that task that matters to you and fits in with your lifestyle. And then after we create that foundation, decide what matters, we talk about your mindset because we all know that mindset is a part of everything. And just because you say like, oh, it doesn't matter to me, I'm just going to do one load, you have to kind of get there in your mind. Like for me, one of my mindsets is it gets to be easy. And so I always think like, what is the easiest way to get this done? And for me, it's grabbing all the laundry in the house in the laundry baskets every morning and putting it in the washer. And that's okay because that's based on my foundation and that is based on a mindset shift that I personally had to make because, you know, I grew up, my mom sorted all the laundry and she had a laundry day and would spend the whole weekend doing it. And then she would iron everything. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So you have to like shift out of that. And then the third step is designing the solution. So for me, the solution is I just, when I'm drinking my coffee in the morning, I get a laundry basket, I go through the house, I put everything in the basket, throw it in the washer, start it. That's my solution. And then the rhythm is the step 4, which is just establishing that rhythm. And so I always like to tie rhythms with anchors. And the anchor is when I have my morning cup of coffee, then I will start my rhythm of just putting the laundry in the washer. And then I switch it later in the day. So it's like it's a full circle process. So it's always about starting with the foundation and creating that based on what matters most to you, then shifting your mindset, designing the solution, because the solution is going to look different for each system in your home, and then establishing that rhythm.
I really love what you said about anchors. That for me is a game changer because it's almost like a trigger. That's what I would call it. Like,
Yeah, a
it's an
trigger.
anchor.
Exactly.
Yeah, a trigger. So when you have your morning coffee, it triggers you. Okay, now I'm having my coffee. I got to go ahead and do this laundry thing, or,
And it makes
or
it enjoyable because I'm drinking my coffee and it's super easy. I'm just walking around the house, emptying the laundry baskets into the one big one that I just throw in the washer. And I don't even turn the clothes inside out anymore. I don't care. They get clean enough. I'll do that later. So
that's
it's
how it
like,
is in my house.
It's super simple. And then, as your system evolves, I know we're specifically talking about laundry right now, but as your system evolves, then I decided like, oh, I don't want to do that white load. So I don't buy my kids white socks. My boys wear black socks because it's just so much easier. My husband doesn't wear the white t-shirts under his suits anymore. Sometimes he'll wear the tank top if it's like an extra cold day, but I don't bleach them because I don't care. And if there's like a load that really just needs some bleach, like I just did a towel load that needed to all be bleached from the just life. And I was like, okay, that's once in a while, but it's not every day.
Yeah, because my boys have white baseball pants, and that's hard.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, we have to
Yes.
bleach
Yeah.
those. But
Um,
I love that.
yeah, the baseball pants, because my son plays baseball too. And I just wash the uniforms with all the regular clothes. And you know what? It's good enough because they're just going to go play baseball again and they're going to get the grass stains and stuff. Sometimes I'll use like the little stain stick and just, you know, stain it
Yeah.
out a little bit. But I used to do a separate load for sports clothes. I'm like, no, I'm good. It's good
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. It's good. Yeah, I love that. It's good enough. Actually, that gives me the confidence now to move forward because when I wouldn't separate my clothes, I would feel so guilty. Like, oh my gosh, I bet other women separate their clothes to make it all perfect and
Oh, yes.
everything.
But that's the mindset shift. That's like where we have to do that internal work. So I always like to start with like creating your foundation. What matters to you? To me, it matters that I get the laundry done in the least amount of loads as possible because I don't want to do laundry. I want to go to the park and hang out with my kids. I want to go to the baseball games and enjoy it. I want to spend my weekends with them, not catching up on the laundry. So there's like a means to an end for that. So it doesn't have to be perfect because that's not the point. The point is that I just need it done. And that's just the laundry example. I have the systems for meal planning. Meal planning is not something that I care about at all. I just want to feed my people and not have them complain at me. So it's important that we have dinner around 6 o'clock every night because people get hungry and they get crabby. And, I am not a cook. I don't care. Healthy enough is healthy enough, but I like to have it planned and my groceries ordered and set up so it makes it easy. I will never cook a dinner that takes over 20 minutes to make because I don't care enough. But that's just my foundation. Other people are really big foodies and they want all the organic food and everything healthy. And if that's your thing, that's your thing. And that's okay. So that's why building systems based around what matters most to you is always the starting point, because we can't just copy someone else's home management system because that'll never work, because it's not based around you and your lifestyle.
Okay, that's great. And so you work on the mindset. They have anchors and triggers, and it's a
Mhm.
four-step process.
It's four
So
steps. Create your
what's the
foundation.
create your foundation?
And that's just deciding what matters, working through all that internal brain dumping and then picking dominoes. And really, I always think like that's the heart of the work because designing solutions is so much easier to do when you know what you're trying to accomplish. And it's hard to really get all of that out until you decide what matters. So then we shift the mindset. That's step number 2. And that's just doing all that mindset work. Like it gets to be easy. You are the CEO of your home. You are in control. You do get to make decisions. We're always going for progress, not perfection. So there's a ton of mindset work in there, which is great. And then the third step is design the solution. So now that you've done the internal work and all of that, now you get to actually get to work creating the solution that's going to fix this problem. And then the fourth step is establishing a rhythm. And that's where we do the anchors or triggers, as you like to call them, and
Oh,
then the
okay.
rhythm that works with that. Because having a laundry rhythm, we kind of all have a laundry rhythm, whether it's you wait until there's no clean clothes in the house and that triggers you to do the laundry, or if
Mm,
you do one load a day with your cup of coffee. So the rhythms is kind of what creates chaos in our life because we can have bad rhythms, just like at work, like you can have bad habits at work, but you can have good ones too. So I always think about doing my first load of laundry is like when I sit down at my desk in the morning and check my email. It's just like the first thing I do. So laundry is just the first thing I do. So it's done.
yeah, I love that. And actually, I'm gonna incorporate that because oh my goodness. Okay. So basically you do it and then you at the end of the day you put it in place, or because mine sometimes they're all clean. Like I have a whole bunch of clean laundry on my bed right now, confession.
Uh-huh.
And you know, at the end of the day, sometimes we just push it up, push it back into the baskets
So to me,
and go
that
to
would
bed.
be Yes. And, I have those days too. Like sometimes I do that, but I really don't do that very often because my loads are smaller, because really the only laundry I'm doing is the clothes that we wore yesterday. So it only takes about 5 minutes for me to put the clothes away. And then sometimes I like to think like, okay, so that's where your hang up is, putting it away at the end of the day. So maybe you should wash your laundry at night, put it in the dryer in the morning. So that way it dries in the morning. And then it's like a morning task to put the laundry away when you're more like alert and into it. And it's not at the end of the day. So kind of switch it up a little bit just based on like your lifestyle. And if you know that that's where the hangup is, then you got to design the solution around that part. And then also like, how are you putting it away? Because I don't want to sit there and fold laundry. So I hang as much as I can. So I don't have to fold anything, because putting a hanger in something takes like a moment versus like folding a
Folding.
shirt and putting.
Yeah,
So
we
I
just bought a
hang
whole bunch of
everything.
hangers. Yeah, we
Yeah.
just bought a
So
whole
I
bunch of hangers.
I hang everything except for like pajamas. And sometimes even with the socks, if I'm lazy, I won't even match them. I'll just take like the tall ones are my oldest and the short ones are my youngest. And I just put them in the drawers. I'm like, they're all black. They're fine. So just make that process as easy as possible.
That's great. I mean, that's what we did. We decided to just go with hangers. Okay. So the
I know
next
that's a
thing,
lot on laundry.
that is a lot of laundry. But you know what? But I feel like, that's really great points that you went over on like having an anchor and then developing a rhythm. I feel like that,
Mhm.
you can put that in other things. So, but sometimes there are moms that are struggling with it all, right? Like the
Yeah,
meals and the
all of it.
cleanup
Mhm.
and, and the laundry, which is,
Yep.
number one
And
for me.
and everyone has their number one. So for me, my biggest struggle, actually, it was all of them. So it would be my 7 essential systems are laundry, dishes, the 5 minute cleaning system, because we all have to have a system to pick things up easily, incoming and outgoing items, which is the mail and stuff, trash. So there's just systems for everything, and it all follows the same formula. So when everything just feels overwhelming, it just means that nothing's working. So it's just super important to get clear on like, okay, obviously nothing's working with my lifestyle. So I need to create this foundation and set up these systems to work for me, not against me.
And as far as how do you manage like running your business and then running these systems, like how do you have days? Do you break it down into days? Like some days is just a focus, or is it just a routine, a daily routine that's just, synchronized for every single day?
So I do also teach the 14 always elegant living principles. And one of the principles is evolving with the seasons. So I'm a firm believer in everything changes. So what works for you today might not work a month from now because your life might change. Maybe your kids, I know my kids starting middle school, so school starts a little earlier. So a lot of things that we do in the morning aren't going to work come the fall time because everything just changes because you're evolving with the seasons. So one of my things is it's okay to always be evolving. And so I set a system up that works for now, knowing that it's not always going to work, and that's okay. So I don't like to dedicate like a whole day to cleaning the house because I don't want to spend my time doing that. But I can do 5 minutes a day cleaning an area. So I'm okay with that. So when it comes to managing my home, I like to dedicate about 20 minutes a day to getting everything done. And then on Sundays, I dedicate an hour to really prepping for the week ahead. And that helps me a ton. That's where I do my meal planning, where I do my grocery shopping, where we go over our schedules and we know where everyone needs to be. So that 1 hour on Sunday sets me up so I'm not reacting to my week during the week. And then as far as my business, that allows me so much time in the day to focus on my business because I actually have two. I have the photography business and this business. So I'm managing the two businesses, which means I don't have time to manage my home during the day. So just having those rhythms, the daily rhythms, I would say, of about 5 to 10 minutes a day, and then the 1 hour on Sunday is all I need to get everything done. And
Wow.
I know it seems like impossible, but it's so doable. If I could even show you what my house looked like before I figured this out, it was insane. Like I had closets full of crap. I would have extra stuff at my studio because I had a studio in town and I would just like put everything there that I didn't want to deal with, like all the too small clothes for the kids and toys that I knew I needed to get rid of. I would just hide it all there. I'm like, whatever, it's out of my house, it's fine. But I would never like make the decisions or deal with it. Or even the mail, like right now, one of my mail systems is I take the mail from the mailbox and I don't want to go through it every day because I don't want to make those decisions. So I just take the pile of mail and I stick it in an inbox in my office and I go through the mail every Monday. That's my rhythm.
Oh,
So
okay,
I
that's
just,
good.
yeah, because most of our stuff's set up on auto pay anyways. And you can see like when you're getting your mail, if it's something that you have to take care of right there. I mean, we all open our packages that we get from Amazon right away because that's
Yeah.
fun. But like all the paperwork and stuff, like, yeah, just put that in the basket and deal with that on Monday. So you don't have to always be making these decisions every single day. And we do that in our jobs too. So when you apply like how you set up your business and what you do for your job to your home, it just makes so much sense. It's like, oh yeah, we don't have to respond to all of this right away. It's not important. We can have a day where we do that. So that really helps.
What's the number one thing that you get told from the people that you help? Like, what do they say when they come to you? Like, oh my gosh, like for me, I would be like, girl, my laundry is, but what is the number one thing that you see like within your industry when it comes to, managing the home?
I think that everybody thinks that their way is the best way, and there is no best way. So as soon as we get rid of that, there's only the way that works for you and with your lifestyle and with your habits. That's the best way. So there is no like, oh, a load of laundry a day keeps Laundry Mountain away. I hear that one all the time, right? And it's like, okay, so that does work for me. And I do try to do a load of day, but sometimes like I'll be doing podcasts all day long and I can't have the washer going because it's too loud and I don't want it to pick up on the microphone. So that day I'll skip laundry and it's fine. I'll just catch it tomorrow. It's totally fine. Sometimes like we just got back from a week-long vacation. I didn't do laundry while we were there. So I did need to catch up on my laundry on the Sunday when we got home. That's fine too. Just being flexible with evolving and knowing that there is no end all be all system. It's just what works for you and your lifestyle and your habits. That's the biggest one, your habits. So once you have that mindset, then it's easy to understand like, okay, it doesn't really matter what system it is as long as you have a system and that it works for you.
Okay, so I see. And so when someone says, I don't think that's going to work for me, or, I don't think that I can have a clean home, what do you tell them?
I say, why do you think you can't have a clean home? But I just want to dive into like what the actual reason is, because then that'll come up as their obstacle. And then you have to design the solution around their obstacle. Because saying that you don't think you can have something, maybe it's like a money thing. Like maybe you think like, I can't have a clean home because I can't get all the pretty buckets and organize everything, or, I don't have any help. Okay. Those are the obstacles that you have to design the solution around. It doesn't mean that it's not possible. It just means that your solution is going to look different than someone else's solution. And that's fine, but you're still going to get that same result. So I do talk a lot about that too in my course, is overcoming obstacles, because we all have them, whether it's we don't have enough time, we don't have enough energy, we don't have any help, our husband's not on board, our kids are too young, our kids are too old, our kids are too messy. Like everyone has them. So you just have to design your solution around the obstacle.
I love that because it goes towards business too. There was a point in my
Absolutely.
business. Yeah, there was a point in my business that I had to be like, okay, I'm not going to get any help. No one's going to come out here and try to say, hey, Linda, I see what you're doing. I'm going to go ahead and help you, especially with the kids and everything. I literally had to find out, okay, what works for me? What can I do in order to make it work, in order for me to show up the way that I need to show up, in order for me to do the work that I need to do? I had to find those solutions. And I feel like as soon as you come to grips with, no one's coming, no one's coming to help,
Mhm.
or like, this is the problem and I have to find a solution, that's when we can really take responsibility, I feel, and like take that next step. And that next step may be for someone to take your course. Like, you know what? I know that I need extra help in, you know, cleaning my home or having
Mhm.
systems in order for me to really go to that next level. And so I'm going to go ahead and take Ashley's course. Or, I think the solution comes when we understand the problem and take responsibility, like, okay, this is the problem. Where's the solution? And then we can find, and then our minds will start working on trying to find that solution. Right.
Exactly. And that's why I always like to do that creating your foundation first, because it gets all the problems out. So that way you know what it is that's holding you back from that. So one of my personal favorite systems that I have is the 5-minute cleaning system. And that is where I intentionally design and organize each room in my house to where it can be picked up and cleaned in 5 minutes or less. And I am so intentional about that because I do not want any room in my house to take more than 5 minutes to clean. And if it does, then there's a problem. And the problem is either I'm organizing it too much and it's taking me too long to put things away, or I have too much stuff. So those are like my personal obstacles that come up if it takes me longer to clean. And when I'm talking about a 5-minute cleaning system, I'm also talking about like dusting or vacuuming or something. So I can clean each room in my house in 5 minutes or less because I set my house up that way, because that is something that is so important to me, because I do not want to ever spend a Saturday cleaning my house. So if I could just, if everything's pulled out and we just had an awful day, like sometimes during summer when I'm working and no one's really watching my kids and they're doing TV and they're doing stuff, like things get way messier than they would during the week when everyone's in school. And it's okay, because I know that each room that they do their little tornado messes in is only going to take 5 minutes to pick up, clean, reset. And that is what's most important to me. So that's how my solution reflects that. And that's what I love
Yeah.
about it.
Oh my gosh, I love that, because I would say that that's a lot easier for me, is to like keep the majority of the home kind of like picked up and everything like that, because we don't have a lot of stuff. Like
Exactly.
I try to keep like more minimal,
Uh-huh.
more of a minimal thing that is easier to clean up. Um, but I will say that the two major things is the kitchen and of course the laundry. But I'm very thankful that we do have a routine for the kitchen, and that's like doing it at night and making sure that we wake up with a clean kitchen, so it's set up for the day.
Perfect. Mhm.
Yeah. So okay. So how does someone transition from building these routines and then like kind of like taking it on their own? Like how does that look like? Because I feel like building is good, building it and creating a habit of it, that's going to take some time, right? Like how long does that usually take?
I don't think it takes very long. I mean, we could talk about a laundry system in an hour and you can start to implement that and have changes instantly. So these are not long drawn out processes. It's just putting the steps in the right order. And so you can't just like all of a sudden say like, I'm going to have the greatest laundry routine ever. And I'm going to spend, only 20 minutes doing my laundry a day, but you have like 20 loads sitting in the corner that all need to get done. So one of my favorite things that I like, or not favorite things, but one of the things I like to remind people is that in order to stay caught up on stuff, you first have to catch up. So there is going to be that little time period where you do have to catch up. So if it's the laundry and you want to just have an easy laundry routine, you still have to catch up your laundry to get to that point where you can start that rhythm. But then from there, maybe you start decluttering your clothes and you have just less clothes to wash, because less clothes to wash means less laundry. Maybe you make it easier, like you don't have the whites load, you don't have a delicates load, so you start eliminating those clothes from your wardrobe to make it easier. And now, like as you're in that rhythm, you start shopping smarter. So that's the part where I think it is a evolving process, because you're going to make different choices based on your routine. So for me, when I shop, I make sure my kids never buy red clothes because red bleeds into the loads and I don't like that. We don't buy white clothes. Those are just like two things we don't do, and everyone's fine with it. Like no one says anything. But
Yeah, I'm
that's
sure.
like, yeah, that's how it evolves. So when you first like start diving in, I would say pick like your biggest struggle. If it's the kitchen, it's the kitchen. And that's like the system you start catching up and creating right away. But you can see changes like within an hour. I mean, I'm sure even after listening to this episode, you can implement a couple things and just feel the change in your home.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure people are taking notes like, okay. One of my favorite things to go over is my guest routine. So Ashley, what does your day look like? Like timestamp your day. Like how does it look like? And like because you're an entrepreneur, you're running two businesses, our audience are monetizing mompreneurs. So how does your day look like?
A typical work day, I wake up about 7 o'clock because I'm really not a morning person. So I'll wake up, I'll have my cup of coffee, start my little laundry, and then I kind of slowly walk out into the kitchen. I help my kids with their breakfast. And while I'm making their breakfast, I unload the dishwasher. So now I know
Wait,
that I have
wait,
my laundry.
pause.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that get me is that sometimes our minds can be like not present. So how do you like know that you have all this ton of work to do, but like still stay present? Like I'll just pause you with that, but I want to know that answer.
Okay. Um, I just make sure my life is really focused around my kids. So I schedule everything kid related first and I fit my work in around their schedule, honestly, is really what I do. So we schedule vacations first, we schedule play dates first, we schedule like pool time, baseball practice, soccer practice, like all of that stuff. And I fit my work in there. That's really how I stay present. So I know that when I have all these scheduled things with them, that's all I'm doing. I'm not worried about work or anything else. And I fit my work around my family. And I think
Oh,
that
that's
that's one
awesome.
of the greatest things about being a mompreneur, honestly, is that's why we do it. That's why I do
Right.
it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So we can be with them and have that intentional time with them and be able
mhm.
to be a blessing into our families. So, okay. So you're waking up at 9. You're going groggy to the kitchen, you're pouring your coffee, you're making breakfast, and then you're about to do your load. That's where we left off.
My coffee, I do my load of laundry, and then as I'm making their breakfast, I unload the dishwasher because I'm usually making their toast and stuff. So I know I have like my two most important house things done for the day that just make me feel on top of the world, and it's just done before I like really start my day. Then I kind of just tell them to get ready because they're old enough they can get themselves ready. And also the way I shop, like they can pick out their clothes without any issues. It's just super easy. And then I will usually take a walk around the block because my husband's still home getting ready for work. So I like to get my movement in for the day right away. And then I come home, I shower, I get ready, and then I usually start my work day about 10 o'clock. So usually I have to drop them off at school. I do a couple errands in the morning if I have to go to the post office or get coffee, because that's an errand, right? Uh, so I do that stuff. And then I start about 10 o'clock. And from there, I have I don't want to say structured days, but I have very well planned out days because I do a planning meeting once a month where I know exactly what I'm working on each of my work days for the month coming up. And then, of course, I can add in other stuff as needed, but I know what I have to get done. So I just look at my calendar. I'm like, okay, today I have to write these 4 emails and do a blog post and schedule a podcast. I'm like, okay. So I
All
just
in
do
one
that.
day. All
Yes.
in one day. Oh my gosh.
Yes. But so I've also decided that I don't like working Mondays. I kind of need the Mondays for myself because I do a lot of kid stuff on the weekend and it's all about them and I love it and it's a ton of family time. But on Monday, I'm tired and I need a break and I need to like not have commitments. So Mondays are kind of like my day where I just do whatever, whatever
I have
I
the same
want.
thing. I do the same thing for
Okay.
Mondays because I'm exhausted after the weekend.
Yes, it's like a lot. I mean, I heard you say your kid plays baseball, mine does baseball. Sometimes we'll have 2 or 3 games a weekend, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's a
It's
lot,
crazy.
but I love it.
Yes, yes. It's crazy. It's a crazy, messy, beautiful life.
Yes. So
But
then
not
I
messy
know
because now is elegant.
elegant is my way of saying that I like things effortlessly beautiful. So I always like to make sure I'm including things that are easy to manage, easy to take care of, but they're beautiful. So that's where elegance comes into my life. It's like even in my home decor, it has to be elegant, which is effortlessly beautiful because I don't want to spend any time taking care of things. I just want it to look pretty and be effortless. Uh,
Amen. Okay, so you said 10 a.m.
yeah, I start work.
You start work, and then what are you doing at work? So 10
So
a.m. What
I
are you
go to my
doing?
calendar, whatever it is I had planned on there. So I do my monthly meetings and I plan out whatever I need for the month. So usually I'll know how many podcasts I need to record. I batch everything. So batching is one of my biggest hacks that I do. So I batch podcasts, I batch blogs, emails, pretty much everything I can do. Batching, I do. And so I just look at my calendar. So it's already kind of planned. So I don't really have to think about what I'm doing that day. It's already on there and I just do what it tells me to, because I know that I already spent the time to intentionally plan that, which helps a ton. And then I usually work for about 4 hours a day. I try not to work more than that because I just don't want to, but I can if I need to. And then I usually have to pick kids up about 2:00. So I leave at 2 to start picking people up from school. So 10 to 2 is my like really dedicated work time. And then after 2, then we have all the after school activities. And I do have 2 businesses. So the 10 to 2 is for Always Elegant Living. And then my photography business, I do 6 photo sessions a month and I schedule them on Wednesday evenings and Saturday evenings. So those nights I know that I'm out doing pictures. And as soon as I'm done with the pictures, I just come back, I load everything, I edit it, I get it all done. And then like blog posts and emails, those go on my blog posts and email days.
That's
So.
amazing. That is amazing. I'm impressed. That's incredible that you can get all that done.
Okay, so it's really funny because I get so much more done working 20 hours a week plus whatever time it takes for the photo shoots than I did when I gave myself Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 to get everything done. Because if you give yourself 40 hours to get everything done, it's going to take you 40 hours to get everything done. But if you give yourself 20 hours to get everything done, it's going to take you 20 hours to get everything done. So I feel good working 20 hours a week. I know that I can get everything done in 20 hours. And I would rather just do like 100% focus for those 20 hours than drag it out to 40 hours and just feel like,
oh yeah,
I'm working too hard and burnt out.
Yeah, I've learned that usually 3 to 4 hours is the perfect block of time to have concentrated, dedicated, focused time on whatever it is that you need to accomplish. 4 to 3 hours. More than that, it's not going to happen because you need a break. You need a break. You need time to unwind and then get back on it.
Yeah. And then during summer, because my kids are home, so my time blocks are broken up a little bit more. So I can only work about 45 minutes at a time, but it's okay because I make my own schedule. So in the summer, I have lighter projects. Like I'm not going to do a website redesign and I'm not going to add like all these challenges and extra things during the summer because I don't have to. I can do it when they're in school, when I have that focused time. So my summer schedule is lighter than my school schedule, but that's evolving with the seasons. And that's always what I talk about because there are seasons in our life, and summer, it is what it is. I love being home with my kids. So I don't want to spend 20 hours a week working. I'd rather, I actually do work really hard in May to make sure that I have the income and everything I need to get me through the summer. So that way, I have that time with them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. I feel like we can talk all day. So
Probably.
Ashley, right? I mean, I want to continue to ask you some questions, but where can people find you?
I am at alwayselegantLiving.com. And that is where my home base is. And then I also have a podcast called the Always Elegant Living Podcast. And I just basically help working moms easily manage their home without the constant tasks consuming their life. And the whole goal of that is it's a means to an end. It's a means to not being always managing your home and having to worry about that and think about it. So you can live a life full of ease and elegance. So when I do teach home management, it's because it creates that freedom that we all want from being mompreneurs and even working moms. Like we want that freedom so we don't need our home tying us down. But that's where you can find me. And then I'm also on Instagram at Always Elegant Living.
Thank you so much for being part of the show. And
thank you for having me.
I hope that people check you out because I love what you're doing. And I think that it's really, really important to just have that peace and calmful life and to live that life that we love and that we can also love our homes and our businesses at the same time that we're raising our littles. So thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have a chance, stop by the website at lindamendable.com. Sign up for the Blog Cure, which is an awesome course that I created that will help you set up your blog or take your blog to the next level, and join us over at Monetizing Mompreneurs Facebook group. I just want to say again, thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.